I hope you've had time to digest. So, any questions from the digest before we continue? Don't they have in the wallet? No, in the channel. Yeah, in the channel. Okay, let me explain it. So he's asking about how the penalization of bad actors happens. So here I said like every time you open a channel, you're opening a 2 of 2 multi-sig, right? And in both cases, both of you are exchanging secrets. So Alice has Bob's secret in this transaction, and Bob has Alice's secret. So let's say Alice has been having that coffee, and then she's like, I don't want to pay. But then she had made commitment transactions, right? Let's call them CTX. Every time she signed a commitment transaction, Bob was getting a record. So if Alice decides to be the bad actor, Bob is able to still redeem. Or let's say Alice wants to use to say, oh, I just had one coffee. So she's trying to push an old transaction, but then Bob already has the new transaction. So he can use the latest. And when the network notices that, Alice is penalized. So whatever balance she had on the channel, it goes as a plus to Bob during settlement. So it's a way of penalizing bad actors. Yeah, the whole balance. So Alice ends up being the loser in this scenario. And then nowadays, to counter that, there's something we call watchtowers, whereby it records what's happening between the two of you. So it's keeping a real-time update of the transactions happening on the Lightning Network. Because we know the Bitcoin network only records the opening and closing of a channel. But then during your stay here, the watchtower is keeping track. So in case Alice goes offline, the watchtower is still able to give a right record of where your balance is at or what you're owed by Alice. Is that clear? Awesome. No, a watchtower is just a counter. It's a public countermeasure to watching on frauds. I'm not sure. It's another 100, yeah. The fee part is what I don't know. But yeah. So the incentive is for security. Like if you are running a watchtower, it means it's hard for someone to defraud you. So in as much as it's benefiting you, it's benefiting others. Yeah. So we go next to this, the network routing. So as we had started the earlier discussion, So how lightning routing works is the shortest and the cheapest route. So the algo usually, when it's routing your payment, it always looks for the shortest and cheapest route to your destination. So in this case, let's say you have like 5 guys. So there's Alice trying to send money to Dave. But then in between them, they don't have a channel. So we have other nodes. So let's say this guy is charging one sat, this one 2 sats, this one maybe 1 sat, and this one is charging 3. Then this guy is charging 1 sat, and this one 2. So when Alice is sending to Dave, the algo will try and look for the cheapest route. So it will hit this first, then this, then that, and then the money reaches Dave. So you see, in total fee, they have paid how much? 3 sats, right? But the shortest routes, it will cost them more because now they'll have to go to this, then it's short but it's expensive. So you're paying 4 sats. Is that clear? Short. Yeah.
So the wallet, the payer's wallet is figuring all this out?
Now this is on the Lightning side. There's an algorithm that checks that.
Right, but
It's a smart fee
the
calculator.
Invoice doesn't know the fee. Invoice only has the total without the fee. So the sender's wallet needs to figure this out.
Yes.
Add the fee.
So when you're paying the invoice, it automatically adds a fee to the invoice you're paying.
There's something I'm still trying to understand, and I'm a bit confused. So, how comes Lightning networks achieve the super instantaneous speed of transaction despite the delay that we see in multi-signatures signing of transactions?
So the reason for that is, as I was showing, like the moment you open that channel, you're already in contract. So it's a play between you two on the Lightning protocol itself. Yeah, it's off-chain. Yeah, it's an off-chain transaction. Okay. So that's how the networking works. Anything that's not understood in this? So I wanted to skip this bit and talk about HTLCs, the hashed time locks contract. Just a second. Okay, let me just use the board. So in this scenario, so we are seeing Alice is paying Dave's invoice, right? So how is these other nodes, how are they guaranteed they're going to be paid? So there's something we call hashed time locks contract. So every time Alice wants to send to Dave, there's a contract that's opened. So there's a contract between Alice and Bob's public key. So when this transaction is flowing, let's say this is Bob, this is Carol, and this is Charles. So Dave doesn't care about the contract between what Alice is doing, and Alice doesn't care what Bob and Carol are doing. So when Alice is sending through Bob, they have a contract among themselves. There's a new contract open there. The same thing happens here, like it's between Bob and Carol. And then with Carol and Charles, there's also one. And then there's one between Dave and Charles. So once the payment reaches Dave, there's now a second layer of transactions happening, which is now the routing nodes need to get their money back since they gave out their 10K. So in this, Charles is able to use the public key he had. So he's able to redeem his 10K. Same thing, he sends a confirmation to Carol. So Carol is able to redeem the 10K. And then the same thing until it goes back to Carol. So you can see here, the balances won't be the same since each of them earned 1 sat, 1 sat, 1 sat. So out of all this, Carol has paid the routing fee. And with the hashed time lock contract, it guarantees that there won't be any loss of money during the routing. That's clear?
The telegram I sent more about the watchtowers, but they don't make fees currently. Just for altruism.
Yeah, so this is the hashed time locked contract. It's just a basic way of safeguarding the transaction between the sender and the receiver. So there's no way someone can steal your funds during the routing of the sats. So these are benefits. I think we had talked about them. The benefits of Lightning. So we have payments are instant and final. Then the millions of transactions per second. There's no manual errors to invoices. As you've seen, when you create the invoice, it's, how do you call it? It's very, what's the term? Like it's error free. Let me call it error free. Like if you're sending 10 sats, if your invoice is 10 sats, it's 10 sats. It doesn't collect like a bug and it says 50 sats. And then micropayments for minimal fees.
In the business sense, for where they're doing the cost and everything. So you can't have discount campaigns and 10% off for customers.
Good.
I think for discount campaigns, you can have something like Africa routing node, like your business connected to their node, whereby they offer 0 fee. So your client can have more coffee, but they're paying like less of fee.
How do you just change the amount?
No, you just change who you're connected to, like the nodes your business is connected to.
Some of the applications, you could use that better. There are ways.
And then it's more private. So in as much, the moment you finish your transaction with the cashier, that's it. No one will know like Dave was here having coffee. No, that's it. Like once you go, everything is, it's like when you give out your check, the moment it's cashed out, it's torn. So it's the same thing that happens here. There's a record in the person you gave the check, they received 100K. But then no one knows about it. It's just between you and the person you transacted with.
We have literally go, let's say for like a business sense, I'm buying something online. What I paid for about the same service, maybe it's initially as I like if it's initially.
Yeah, I think in that it's that's where the HTLCs come in. Like you and whoever you're doing business with, you can have like a certain set period. Let's say 2 days. Let's say your good is arriving after 24 hours. So if you're not satisfied with that, what do you call it? If you're not satisfied with the service, you can always not sign in, like because you always have to sign out the payment. So at that point, you say if you're not satisfied, you don't sign out the payment. Yeah, there's no penalty. It's an agreement between two of you.
My question is on the privacy in mobile businesses. So, when you say about the transactions are not recorded with the chain, that's the
Settlement.
settlement section. So, let's say you give a reference of name, what's an order. So, on the blockchain, the address that was sent to the recorded. So, like, what is exactly recorded in the blockchain, in the actual chain?
Sorry, can you say it one more time? What's recorded on the blockchain?
Yeah. Okay, so my question is, what is recorded on the chain? Is it the settlement amount that the money moved from this address to this address, or is it basically the connection from this to this?
It's only the channel opening and closing. So all of these mini payments in between the buying of the coffee, that's only on Lightning. It's just when if I want to take my funds from Lightning back to on-chain, that's recorded on the chain. And if I want to take an on-chain funds and put it into Lightning, recorded on chain. But all of these microtransactions are not recorded on chain. So that's where the privacy comes. Does that make sense?
Then there's the beauty of Lightning, and then there's the challenges. So one of the biggest is, in Lightning, in order to open channels, you need funding, right? But nowadays we have wallets that take care of that. We have like Phoenix, they take care of the liquidity aspect of you opening a channel with someone else. But it's still under works. We have things like LSPs. I think Scott can shed more light on that. Maybe.
Yeah, sure. So one important thing to understand about these different Lightning service providers, iBEX, or you all downloaded Blink Wallet, which runs on Galore, which is a different Lightning service provider. There's different use cases, right? So, for example, a bank might not necessarily want to hire someone that understands Lightning that will also have to manage all of these technical nitty gritty details on the Lightning side, right? They want to be able to plug into an API and easily use Lightning, right? So that's one use case. Another use case could be a startup or someone who they have someone who understands Lightning that can manage all of these, all of the routing, which we're not, I don't think we're explaining how it's a job. Like it's going to be, a company will have to hire someone who their only job is to manage this Lightning node, right? Because it's not automatic. The balancing of the channels, all of that takes someone to do it. Now, there are algorithms now that do it, that help you, but there still needs to be a human that is in charge of the node, right? And so that's the difference in the sort of providers where someone like IBEX, we manage all of the Lightning part for you. You just get to use the Lightning, right? So you get to easily transact on Lightning, you get to plug in our API, and we take a lot of the headache of managing the node as well as you're using our liquidity. So yes, when you want to send money through our service, you have to send the money, like your own money, right? But you're not sending money to open the channel where you have the channels open. And let's say that in the worst case scenario, IBEX gets hacked or something. You won't lose your funds. We lose the funds because all of your balances are yours. I don't know if I'm explaining this the best way, but on the flip side, like Galoy, you all downloaded Blink Wallet, which runs on Galoy's backend. You are in charge of the channel management and the liquidity. So let's say you want to have the ability to be pushing around $10,000, whatever, every single day. That means you have to put in $10,000, and those are your funds. So if your company makes a mistake, if something happens, those funds are gone. Okay, does that make sense? I know I kind of went on the rant, but
I would say to dumb it down just a little bit more is if you are trying to become like a Bitcoin company, you're learning about Lightning, you want to learn how to do that hands-on, the wallet infrastructure is great. If you're more of an institution or a business already, your primary business is say, I don't know, selling things online, you might not want to have to do all that work, which is kind of where we come in. So it's kind of like, Walmart isn't going to spin up their own cloud infrastructure and run their cloud services. They're going to go to Amazon and take Amazon cloud services and use that. So IBEX is more like those cloud services that it's not your core business, lets us do it. Versus if you're a Bitcoin company already, and you want to become further into that Bitcoin rabbit hole, then you might want to manage all that infrastructure yourself because it's a service you provide. So those are kind of the two tiers, I would say. It's like you stick to what you know, or this is what you want to know.
does that make sense?
Then the other challenge is you cannot fund Lightning directly from your mainnet, like your on-chain funds. But nowadays we have wallets like Wallet of Satoshi that can automatically do that for you. So you might have Bitcoin on your wallet of Satoshi, but then it can immediately, when you're sending it via Lightning, it's able to do the conversion for you. And then the last one, this is for node runners. So if you're using your own node, you must always be online in order to receive Lightning payments. That's among the biggest challenges. And then the other one is the capped capacity. So as you saw there, if you cap your channel to 100K, okay, let me expound it more. So Lightning is suitable for micro payments, right? But if you're doing large settlements, it's much cheaper to use the on-chain than to use Lightning, because you might end up paying way more than what you'll pay on-chain. So you have to balance. So if you're doing micro payments, use Lightning. If you're moving like a million, let's say a million shillings, use on-chain. If you're moving like 50K, use Lightning. You're gonna enjoy the fee. Just learn to balance between the two.
Isn't the fee denominated in sats? It's a fixed rate, or there's a percent or both?
Yeah, the fee is still in sats, but then if you're moving a higher volume in Lightning, you're paying more to do that.
Yeah, I know about that. I mean, maybe as a heuristic, but not all the time.
Yeah, not all the time. Yeah.
So when you are maintaining your own channel, which are some of the ways that you can lose your money?
Do you wanna ways to lose money if you're maintaining use?
business when somebody is running a channel, their funds get well is somewhat loose funds.
I would say, I would say like improper channel management. So when these funds are moving, right? Let's say all of them move to one side of the channel, but you need funds on the other side to receive or pay, right? You can pay to rebalance the channel, right? And so if you do that inefficiently, right, because that's on the node, the node runner to manage the channel. If you do that inefficiently, over time, you keep doing that, you're gonna slowly lose funds because you're paying for the channel rebalancing. Now, there are ways to balance the channels for free, but it just depends on how the money's moving, right? Does that make sense?
Then other ways you can lose your funds. It's the, what do you call it? Unintended shutdown of your channel. So let's say you're running a node and then power goes off and you hadn't backed up your channel. So backing up channels is among the challenges of being a node, okay, a channel runner or a node maintainer. So anytime you don't back up your channels correctly and power comes back and you try and fire it up, you might find you've lost some funds.
Just to expand on that a bit more, that's why, so one thing we haven't really, but he mentioned it, a bit there, that like we said yesterday, Lightning is a competitive group of nodes working together, right? They're all trying to make money through routing, right? So, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought, but and totally blanked, but I'll get back to it.
So that's clear? Any more questions?
You said that the routing is what chooses the cheapest route, right?
Shortest and cheapest.
Shortest and cheapest. So is there a notification for someone who's running one of those, maybe that the prices are too high, too low, or you just you have to sort of regulate your prices?
So just like any other business, being a routing node runner, you're the one setting your fee. Like how much fee do you want to be paid?
I remember now, sorry. So what I was trying to say is it's a competitive environment, right? If you're a routing node. So one of the things that you're competing with other nodes is how good is your node's uptime, right? So if you're really trying to make money from being a routing node, you have to promise 99% and plus uptime, because if your node goes down, you could lose funds. So uptime, like, yeah, also speed of the internet, like all these things matter, which is why to be a competitive routing node currently, most people run in the cloud because the cloud provides reliability, right? It's hard to, if you're a business, run a node in your house, right, and provide the same, uptime and availability that the cloud can. It's possible, but you're going to spend a lot of money for the hardware, for the extra Wi-Fi and stuff like that. Does that make sense?
And Scott, also, the amount of channels that a certain LSP has open facilitates speed in which the transactions go through, right? So if you're a single node operator, you've got to open up all these channels to ensure that you make your way through the network to send payment, versus someone like us, where we have the most channels open through Cash App and Galloy and all these other infrastructure providers to ensure that the route goes through the fastest. Or at least we have a route open that will connect.
So when your node goes down, you can't broadcast it, hey, I'm offline, but other nodes can to see that. So is there like software that's constantly monitoring, say, hey, this guy's offline 80% of the time, so don't pay attention to him? Where's that?
Yeah, the algo is always observing. So, like in LND, there is something called terminal. So that's where you check whether your node, like your node's uptime.
Right, but other nodes need to know you're not reliable. How do they know?
There's a sort of reputation network that I think is constantly updated. I don't know the exact technical details, but yeah, you can look it up on one in there. There's this is where
I think there's a site called it's 1ml. Let me
it's
just
one
look.
ML, right?
Just like with your nodes, query 1ml API, so just say,
Or you can query another node directly, I believe. So that's one of the only things you can know from another node. Right? Um, you can guess the balance of another node, but it's not, it's sort of one of the only things you can guess. Right? It's the uptime and the
So this is a Lightning node map. So you can always check. So once you point your node here, and we can see Kenya. I think I shut down mine, so right now it's not visible, but I used to be on the map. So
oh, and it's excluding Tor nodes.
yes, Tor nodes are anonymous nodes. Like when you're running on either your Bitcoin or Lightning via Tor, it's hard to be detected. So it's like you're a ghost worker in quotes. So you can check out mempool/drops, then Lightning, you'll see the node map, and you can explore. You're seeing how behind Africa we are. So that's part of the reason why we are doing this workshop. It's to motivate you to put up more nodes. Yeah. Sorry?
I think they're just bigger nodes.
I think it's capacity.
Yeah, more capacity.
Let's check out one. Yeah, like you can see, this guy has done 527 bitcoins. And if we look at the small guy, they've only done 582 sats, 582k sats. I don't know where Megaslay is. Maybe he could show us his nodes. It will be fun to see his nodes as well.
You might run on Tor then.
Yeah.
You might run behind Tor. Oh, there you go.
Oh yeah, there's one.
Oh, nice.
3 million sats. Yeah, so Kenya, we need to pull up our socks.
So we
Are
have
all of your nodes public?
yeah, they were,
I'm just saying
then
that
which one is that? So we had
the
to close
Ghana.
down the notes in Nigeria and Ghana. That's not us, that's ours. But then we closed it down because of the hack. Then inside Ghana, check the next one. The next one there. That was ours as well. So yeah, so you see, we had to take the funds out because of the hack. Then in Kenya, we had enough as well. So it's not showing this research. I think it should pop up. Kenya for
maybe you're trying to send payment and your payment is going through one or two of our nodes, then you're not going to cloud. So voltage.cloud gives you a platform for you to set up a node very easily. So instead of going through the hassle of compiling the code and running it yourself, then you can just go to voltage.cloud and sign up, and it's basically just clicking buttons and your node is set up very easily. So that's the very first node we had. But after that, we decided to get our hands dirty. I set up the first node in Africa. That was an Nigeria routing node. And that was practically I think that was the first active lightning node in Africa. And after that, we had another node in Kenya. Then we had one in, no, we had in Ghana first. Then we had in Kenya. And the last one was in South Africa. And all these nodes were hosted on the VPS server. Actually, unfortunately, the VPS server was not as secure as we thought it was. So we got hacked. Somebody gained access from the VPS side, then stole some funds from us. We lost almost 186 million. We lost about 80 something million satoshis. So because of that, we decided to shut down the nodes in Africa because one, the platform we're using is not secure. See, these are the problems we need to solve in Africa. Right? We do not have a secure platform to even do things like this. We're using VPS sorry, Wait for Africa. And to be honest, it wasn't, that was the only option we had, right? The best option we had. But then they were not, if you compare them to other hosting providers outside Africa, they can't even measure up. Their services was terrible. The customer service was you send message and it will take more than 24 hours to respond to your message, your complaint. So it was really, really bad. And when this happened, we just decided to bring down all the nodes. And currently, we are looking for ways we could host the nodes ourselves locally. So if we want to have a node in Kenya, we come get a place that there is constant electricity and good network. Then we bring the hardware, set up the node, and just have it running there. But the challenge we are currently having is we want we reached out to see if we could see people to partner with, right? So you come up and then you maybe provide the hardware and the place for us to run the node. Then we set up the node, run the node, and then manage it locally, also remotely, if possible, if we just provide the infrastructure for us. But then we didn't just want to trust somebody. We wanted it to be trustless, since we pay for the site. So you don't need to trust the person. Anybody can just come up. So, yes, it's good actually. We actually talked about that. But then
lightning node
to move your,
Have two nodes running so that you maintain uptime.
yeah, you can do that. You can do that. But then I think the way that okay, so he's asking if you have a big node, then you have other nodes that are connected to that big node, right? Then you want to migrate the big node to another platform. What are the implications to other nodes? Now, the beautiful part about Lightning Network, just like normal the Bitcoin network, nodes can join the network and leave at any time without any implication on other nodes. Right? Your node is running the big node. It is a big node on itself. It's running as an individual node, right? It has other nodes connected to it, and those small nodes too. The big node might not be the only node it's connected. It might be connected to other nodes as well. So if the big node goes down, it's not affecting any of the nodes in any way. So it's not going to affect it. Because obviously, except the only way it will affect the node is if the smaller nodes connected to it are only connected to the big and not to any other node, right? So that way you know they only have one route to send payment give payment anytime. So if that one route is disconnected, then they are out of the network entirely, so they are not able to send payment or receive. But if they have at least two channels, if one is down, the other one can be used as long as it is effective enough, right? So if the big node goes down, it doesn't really affect the other nodes that are connected to it that much. So yeah, and also big nodes, I think personally, just a personal opinion, but we have so many big nodes on the network, right? Like Async, we have wallets of Satoshi, we have big nodes, and these big nodes carries, should I say, 80% or more than 80% of the network's capacity, total network's capacity. Now, what I see personally is this is kind of like centralizing the Lightning network in a way, and this is something we do not want because if like what I think what is the biggest one now, if I'm not wrong, or async. Okay, so it's async.
So
Is that the list of all the nodes now?
so there's connectivity, there's a ranking, there's liquidity, and there's connectivity.
Okay.
So if you go to Lightning Terminal, you'll be able to see the nodes ranking and where they are. So now, if all the nodes, because most of the nodes on the network are connected, are either connected to Satoshi or Async or any other big nodes on the network. So if something goes bad on that big node, the big node we are talking about, it might have a big impact on the network in a way. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? You see, the whole idea of something decentralized is to avoid one point failure, right? And then on the Lightning Network, we have big nodes that are taking all the liquidity. So if Wallet of Satoshi decides to close down their node now, it will affect the network's capacity in a very big way. And you know, you can only send as much as the network allows you. Like the Lightning Network, if your node capacity or the channel capacity is 1 million, like the channel you're opening to somebody, if you're trying to send a payment of 2 million, it's not possible. You can only send as much as that channel can carry, right? So if you want to send more than that, then you have to open a bigger channel, right? So that's how it works. So the same way too with the Lightning Network. The total capacity of the network at the moment, of course, you might not even be able to send that, but that's like the total you can send. So if one of the nodes, the big node, goes down, it impacts the network in a big way. And some big transactions might not be able to, you might not be able to, complete some big transactions on the Lightning Network if you want to. So yeah, that's it.
How much computing power do you need to
A node. It's very little actually, very, very small. I mean, it's negligible anyways. It doesn't take much. It's just like running your laptop. You don't need any big, computing powers or anything. So you can run a node on a laptop that is running a 4 gig RAM. You don't need much actually to run a Lightning node. Yes, you can. I just explained that we were running our nodes on a VPS server before we got hacked. But you have to be sure that wherever you're using is secured and safe, and you also do your own part in making it very secured as well. So
When you shut down the node, that does not affect your stats for your uptime.
it does. When you shut down the node, it does. That's what you're talking about. When the whole idea of uptime is for your node to be online 247.
When you operation, you had maybe 90% uptime, and now you shut it down completely. When you bring it back up.
Yeah, so if we decide to set up a node, we bring the nodes back up. We're not going to use these nodes again. We create a new right, and then run it on a separate device. So it will be running as a new node. So these ones are, of course, the uptime have been impacted already. They are bad nodes. The network is already seeing them as bad nodes, right? So there is no way, it wouldn't make sense for us to go back and bring these other nodes up, right?
And then what's that for the government? How are they visible from connecting to the business and everything? How are they visible?
So you said how are nodes visible to the network? Okay, Tor nodes. How are they visible? So this map you're seeing here, the map we showed you, they are maps of only nodes that are running on clients. Nodes that are running on Tor, you can't see them on the network because obviously Tor is hidden. So if you're running a node on Tor, the location is there is no clear IP. So there is no way you can pinpoint exactly where the node is on the map. So it is the IP address of the node that you use to know the location, right, where the node is located. So when we said we're running nodes in Africa, we're very intentional and specific about the VPS provider we used to be sure they have data centers in Africa, right? So we use VPS service that has data center outside Africa. So wherever the data center is, that is where your node's IP address will be. Do you get? And then That's where it's going to show on the map. All right. Yes, you can. So one thing about connection is, like I said, we have Tor nodes and we have ClearNet nodes. Now, nodes that are running on Tor can reach any node they want to at any point in time. They can connect to ClearNet nodes. They can also connect to Tor nodes, and they can open channels to them. But nodes that are running on ClearNet can only connect to ClearNet nodes, right? So they can connect to ClearNet nodes. They can't connect to Tor nodes. So the Tor node will have to connect to them for them to open the channel. So that's it.
So when running a lightning node, I can benefit from the routing fees. Is there a way for me to offer when opening a channel connecting to other nodes? Is there a possible way for me to charge a fee?
So let me rephrase the question. You're asking if, aside from charging fees on routing, if you can charge to open channels for others. Yes, you can actually. That's what I was explaining. That's basically what you're doing is you're providing liquidity to the node, right? You're selling your, because obviously to open a channel to another node, you're using your funds. So you can decide to do it free or you can decide to get a fee. You'll be the one to decide the fee you want the person to pay you. So if the person needs, but then for that to happen, your node will have to be a very good node, right? Nobody wants to connect to a node that is bad. So I cannot just carry myself to buy channel from a node that is bad, that I cannot benefit from. So it has to be a node that is good. Like our node, we had people purchase channels from us because one, we were running free routing nodes. And because of that, we had lots of transactions go through our node. So any node that is connected to us also will benefit from that. So when transaction comes to us, it will pick a channel right out of the nodes we are connected to go through, right? So you can charge to open channels to others. Any other question? Okay, so that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Megasly. Oh,
So I hope you've learned something on challenges of being a node runner.
my node. It's because I relocated, so I had to shut down. So basically, I think Megasly has covered a lot. But if you see in terms of ranking, you're either ranked by connectivity or by liquidity. So you can use mempool.space again. You're seeing it's been very resourceful. So it's a one-stop shop. You can check out Lightning, Bitcoin. So in your free time, do check it out. I think after lunch break, I can try show you the basic LND CLI, like how to connect between two nodes. Hopefully it's a good practical for you guys, and then you can have that experience. Awesome. I think that marks the end of our second session. So we have one last one after lunch. Any questions before we close this chapter? I think on the slides, I was left with yeah, so basically Lightning addresses. So nowadays we have like new ways of making them more human readable. So we are seeing people or companies simplifying them. They're making them like your email addresses, the LN URLs. We have something called Nostr, whereby I just need your username to send you like Satoshis. But now with Bitnob, you're seeing what they're doing. So it's your name, then at Bitnob. So this can be your Lightning address. And then there's CoinOS. They're doing the same thing. There's Tando. Not yet. Yeah, so basically, you're seeing improvements in terms of Lightning addresses. They're becoming more simpler and easy to use. So at some point, it's gonna be I just give you my name, then you zap me with sats. It's happening already on Nosta. For those who don't know, Nosta is it's a social network. Yeah, so basically during your free time, you can check it out. They have features like zapping, like you can if you it's like Twitter, but then in your what do you call it? In your post, someone can decide instead of putting a like, they zap you with a sat, maybe two sats, three sats. So check out Nostar later on. And yeah, any questions before we close? No, this is fully built on Bitcoin. Like it's using Bitcoin tech. Yeah. It's not plugged into Web3. It's just Bitcoin and it's mostly Lightning. So for the Mac guys, you can check out Damas. This one. There's Primal. There's yeah. So these are the applications, the Nostar applications. So for Android, you have Amit. There's Primal. There's so on iOS it's Damas, and then Primal is there as well. For web, yeah, just go to nostar.org. You should see everything pertaining. Yeah, I guess that's it. Has anyone of you used Albi before? So Albi also gives you this option of having a username as your Lightning address. So these are the LN companies. Gladly today we've interacted with a few, like of Satoshi, Blink, Bitnob. There's Blue Wallet, though I don't know how it is right now. Yeah, they dropped with my sats around 100K. So yeah. Yeah. Oh, sorry. There's Ibex. That's on me. Yeah, so there's Ibex and there's Tando. They're newer kids on the block.
We are the OGs though.
The OGs, yeah. More infra. Awesome. I think Ibex will be taking over tomorrow and Thursday, so you should learn more on how to use their infrastructure. So that marks our lunch break. See you after lunch. Hopefully, do some CLI. Windows guys, I don't know how I'll handle you, but we'll try.
Hey, what's up? So, if you use Windows and download it's a very sufficient. That's what